any questions and save
Can't
them
ask
for
us
passing.
anything too serious now. Thanks, Beth.
Oh,
yeah?
Izzy, can you talk to us a little bit about the defense that Toronto played tonight? And oh, so cute though. Stay. Izzy, can you talk to us a little bit about the defense Toronto played tonight and what made it difficult to penetrate that, what they were doing?
Yeah, I think we knew that they kind of shrink in the D zone, so they kind of bring all 5 inside the dot. So it's going to be hard to get to the middle of the ice, but I thought we did a good job, especially in the first and third periods. We were trying to, utilize that high ice and try to get shots through. I think credit to them, they did a good job blocking shots, but I think when we did get traffic in front and we're putting pucks on net, we did cause a lot of chaos. So I think overall we stuck to our game plan and executed it pretty well. We just didn't get rewarded, but still, we got to get to the middle a little bit more.
Chelsea from Girls at the Games. Maschmeyer, it's obviously pretty tough when there's 2 quick goals like that, but it seems like you had things under control for the rest of the game afterwards. How do you maintain a level of calm and stay tight like that after 2 quick goals?
Yeah, I've been in a lot of different experiences, and every hockey game is different. Sometimes, you can go a whole game not letting any goals. Sometimes it's you're doing everything right and goals are going in. It could happen in the first second of the game, the last second. So for me, I don't worry too much about the timing of the goals. Obviously, we want to start on the scoreboard first, and we want to get the first one. So I want to own that too. Like, I want to make more saves in the first so our team can get up. But at the same time, yeah, I try to focus on the next shot. I know every shot's important, and it seemed like today there wasn't a ton of shots coming my way, but they were getting good quality chances, so I knew I had to be ready for every single moment.
Emerance, it's Carol Schramm from the Hockey News. Troy Ryan was just here talking about the adjustment period coming back from the Olympics, and he's sort of alluded to the fact that there's documentation that it's different for everybody and that it can be a bit of a tricky journey. Obviously, you've come back from Olympics before, but not to a pro league and games like that. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely different this time around. Last Olympics, we went straight into summer, which was kind of crazy after, you're usually playing through, March, April, in this case, May. So it's a little bit different this year coming right back into league play, and we have half a season left, which is very exciting. But of course, it's an interesting transition period. The build up to the Olympics, it's not only throughout that event, it's the 4 years leading up, and so it's quite a high when you're there, and then you leave, and it's kind of like, okay, you go back to normal life. So that transitions, it's difficult, but I would say that, having my son, and he puts everything into perspective. Like, what an honor it's been to be able to play with Team Canada and play at the Olympics and play with the girls on my team. Like, they're incredible, but I'm just so excited also to come back and be with the Goldeneyes. Like, the girls welcomed us back with open arms, and we were definitely jet lagged this week, but coming to the rink every day, the energy that they brought and the smiles that they had on their faces when we showed up made everything worth it. And so, yeah, I'm just so excited to be back with the Goldeneyes and in this home stretch especially.
Thank you. And for Izzy, it looks like statistically you're sort of carrying over some momentum that you had from before the break and got the goal today. And I noticed that your hit total today was higher than it's been for the whole season as well. I don't know. It's always a bit nebulous how that gets recorded. But was that a conscious decision by you to try and play more physical, or is it just sort of the way it worked out?
No, I think that's just the way it worked out, but I don't know how those hits are exactly calculated. I wouldn't say I'm someone who's looking to waste my energy throwing the body, but I think, that's part of this league, growing into this league. It's just my second year. You have to learn how to play physical and use your, body positioning to your advantage. So I guess today I was just doing a little bit more, but not intentional.
Maya Smith from the Ice Garden. Izzy, you've had a few good games against your former team. Do you feel like playing against them gives you this kind of extra level of intensity wanting to beat them, or does it just kind of work out that way?
I mean, I think any player playing against their former team would be lying if they said it doesn't give you a little extra, kick in the butt. But I think it's just honestly the best part about it is looking over and seeing a lot of good friends on the ice. I think it makes it a lot more fun, and hockey's, meant to be fun. So I think I was just, excited to get to the rink today. A lot of friends on the other side, but it definitely gives you a little bit extra motivation.
Chelsea from Girls at the Games again. This is for both of you, but International Women's Day is coming up. It's actually next Sunday. What does it mean to you as athletes to be able to grow the game for the next generation of women and to be in a league like this, still in its early years, but so important and having such a big impact already, especially given current events right now?
It means everything. I grew up only being able to watch women really play every 4 years at the Olympics, and I was fortunate to have my sister who's 6 years older than me, and I could look up to her and see her in action. But again, she played boys hockey, and so it's been really amazing to see, the traction that we have had in this game so far in just 2.5 seasons. It's really promising. It's, in all women's sports, there's just so much momentum. And so, it's definitely, one of the biggest honors of my life to be able to be part of this movement. And it's exciting to see where we're heading.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, just being in college 2 years ago feels like a long time, but it really wasn't. And not knowing what I was going to do after I graduated, it wasn't even running through my mind that this would be an opportunity for me to pursue after school. So I was just, planning on going to work, a real job. And then obviously the PWHL came together. And so I think it's just amazing to see the growth it's had in only 3 years. And I think everyone, I went back to school this fall, and everyone's just so excited. They all want to try to play in the PWHL, and to see all the little girls who come to our games and say that this is their dream, I think it's really inspiring, and it pushes us to put our best foot forward every day.
Lachlan Irvin from Canucks Army. Izzy, you didn't have a shot on goal up until your goal in this game. And in a game like this where your team is struggling to generate as much offense as you'd like, how do you know when it's your time to call your own number and take a shot?
I mean, I think we wanted to get more pucks to the net. That was kind of something we were talking about, especially with traffic in front. And I would say for myself, I would say I'm a pass-first player, so I'm not always looking to shoot. But when you get the puck in the slot, I think, that's a time when you've got to, bear down and fire it on net. So that's something I've continued to try to work on throughout my career, is be more shot ready. And that was, I don't want to pass that one up. But I don't think it's okay, now I'm going to try to shoot more. This is, the time to start throwing shots. I think I'm just, looking for the right play, and that was the right play there.
And for Emerance, this game turned into quite a good goaltender battle. When you are playing against a goaltender playing as well as Reagan Kirk was in this game, does that raise the talent level of both goaltenders at both ends of the ice, do you feel?
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun when it's a good goalie duel. I think that happens quite often in this league. Many games are kept to a 1-goal lead, and so and we all know each other really well. So it's a lot of fun going up against all the goaltenders of this league. Reagan played amazing today, so I'll give it out to her for sure. But yeah, it's a great time, and I think that, of course, it elevates our game. It's natural. We get competitive, and we want to come out on top.
Let's finish off with Millie here.
Millie Rivas, Offside News Co. With this being a whole back half of the season and international break for international games for some, practice time for others, how do you make sure that you keep the momentum going into the second half despite a loss for this game?
Yeah, these games are so close, and I think it's about controlling, our emotions, never getting too high, never getting too low. And today there's a lot that we can build off of in a really positive way. And we talked about in the locker room, we didn't come out with the win, but we easily could have tied it up and brought ourselves into overtime. And so there's a lot that we can, watch video and work on, but there's a lot to build off of as well. And so we know how this league works. It comes down to a few games at the end of the season for playoff spots. And so we just have to get every point that we possibly can get. And I think this home stretch will set us up nicely for that.
Any questions? There we go, Izzy.
Fire away, Izzy.
Coach, just your comments on today's effort.
I actually thought we came up and played pretty well coming off the break. So normally you're a little concerned about that being pretty sloppy, and unfortunately they got a couple quick right there, and then we're playing from behind and chasing the game again. But overall, for first day out, I thought we were doing pretty well.
No Claire Thompson today. Any updates on that?
I do not. I know that we're waiting for some information, and then we'll see where that goes.
Maya Smith from the Ice Garden. The last time the Sceptres were in town, just over a month ago, it was a 5-0 win for you guys. What do you think was different about this game that kind of changed that around?
Well, not playing a game in a month, number one. And number two, managing people coming in from different structures and the Olympics, and that poses something interesting. I mean, it's being once every 4 years. There's a lot that goes into that mentally and emotionally, and trying to be on those teams, and then playing in that tournament and being so game heavy, and then trying to filter back in and play with your club and manage the emotions or the highs and lows of what just happened, and still the pinnacle of women's hockey a little bit with Olympic Games. So there's a lot going on.
Lachlan Irvin, Canucks Army. Brian, with Claire out, it requires you to rely more heavily on the defenders you do have left. What did you like about their play, and how did they adjusted to taking on potentially bigger roles in this game?
Yeah, I thought they did a decent job of moving pucks and getting north, and we had a lot of possession time. It's just a matter of being, I don't want to say selfish, but a little more shot heavy in our mentality. We still are far too perimeter, and the possession's nice, but unless you're getting inside the dots and you're getting shots inside the house and heavy on retrievals and second chance opportunities, it makes it a little harder.
A few things. One, with Claire Thompson being out, noticed some rush chances against throughout the game. Do you feel that that's something that can be easily worked on with coming back and readjusting, or do you think that's a part of a defensive structure that is going to be looked at, just the rush chances against?
Well, structurally, it's been something that this year that has been discussed in regards to our ability to read possession and have the weak side pull higher, because we do have active D and we do have D that are involved, and we want that, but also managing some of that risk at times. And so the second part of that is when you're constantly playing from behind, yeah, you have to be a little more risky in some of your opportunities, and you're pushing for offense, and you're going to take some chances on pucks that normally, if it's even or you have a lead, you're just going to push back and live to say, play another day on some of those. But when we need goals, you got to push.
Coach, Emerance was just talking about how, despite the result tonight, there's a lot you can take from this game to build towards pushing for that playoff spot. From a coaching perspective, what do you need to see from this team as you push to make that top group of the league here?
For me, it's interesting. As much as the game has evolved with individual skill and ability, hockey still at its core is a one-on-one physical competition. And so having a little more of a chip on our shoulders, having a little more grit, sandpaper to go along with our skill to get to the inside, to battle to get net front presence, and to be heavier to play against, specifically offensively, is that's the missing piece for me. I think we start stringing some of that together. We're a good hockey club, and I think we still have faith in that and an understanding of that.
Millie Rivers again, Offside News Co. You mentioned that this is the first game back. The Sceptres have had a chance to play against the Torrent earlier in Seattle on Friday. Do you feel that their extra game and extra time to readjust showed in the difference between what ultimately led to their win?
Well, with some of your legs and some of the ability of depth kids to get that game under their belt, obviously, as much as you want to with the players who are here, you can't replicate game action, game intensity, physicality, and that part is what I thought kind of showed with them getting that game in ahead of us, that they were a little more up the game speed than us, and that ends up being a little bit of a difference.